this global cult works through both the left and the right to create this pincer movement to hijack the perceptions of the population and to justify the imposition of military involvement that without the problem you couldn't justify. And it's kind of hilarious in a perverse kind of way to see the left, which denies conspiracies when they're in power, suddenly discovering conspiracy. Oh, Trump's doing it because of this. Yeah, I agree. But when Biden and Obama and anyone else is in power of the left, you can't see a conspiracy. They're the conspiracy nuts who are saying it's a conspiracy. And then you've got the right. Oh, dear. Beam me up, mother. It's mad down here. You've got the right who talk about conspiracies, many of them quite rightly, but then when their guy gets into power, they stop seeing them. And so the left and the right are mirrors of each other.
For those paying attention, we all see what's going on in LA and across America. This felon of a president get up on him podium in platforms and I call people illegals, call people criminals, when this bastard is a legal criminal. So we have David Icke people reacting to what's going on in LA because fire is burning. People are fed up. People them fed up. This brother, I run come act like America was built by immigrants. Trump 4 parents are illegals. Same people now we are called illegals. Your 4 parents can be classified in that category. So the irony of irony, the contradictions of contradiction, people are criminal calling people. People where I work hard. People are working in a factory. People are working at processing plants. And when I hunt people where I work and this man say a criminal, I look for hard criminals. Oh, people are work. I do some hard to 9 to 5. Yeah, call hard criminals. But enough of me, people.
I've looked at events in Los Angeles and quite blatantly, it's a problem, reaction, solution. You know, I look on as I observe the hijacked, as I would say, alternative media, which has regressed from knowing that we live in one-party states and that there is a force that works through all the parties with any chance of forming a government. And yet now, the regression has reached the point where I'm seeing the so-called alternative media saying that the deep state is the Democrats, is the left. It's pathetic to behold, really. We have this global cult, this global network of secret societies, fiercely compartmentalized themselves, so only the inner core knows the real story, that don't just work through the left, they work through all sides to bring about a desired outcome, which is dystopia. So I observe the unfolding sequence in Los Angeles. First of all, the Trump government sends in the ICE border police, very high profile, blatantly in your face, to target migrants at their workplace that they say are illegal. And you select your target as Los Angeles in California, because you know you're going to get a reaction there. You're going to get people who are going to respond to what they think is injustice, and they're going to go out on the streets in protest. You know that. And so that's what you do. And you've got your ICE border police headed by this buffoon, barely one-dimensional Tom Homan, and he's perfect for the job. You know you're going to get a reaction to that. And no doubt you've put some agents provocateurs in there to do some of the more extreme stuff that will get on the TV news and wind up much of the country. And you have in plain sight the waving of Mexican flags, which is going to really wind up people on the so-called right, because they're going to say it's an invasion, go back to your own country and all that. And then as a result of the protests, and some work by agents provocateurs, no doubt, you then say, oh, we can't have this problem. Reaction, do something. Solution. You send in the military. 4,000 National Guard troops, 700 Marines as I speak. And you say, we've got to put down this insurrection. Even though, yes, there has been violence and cars set on fire, but the great majority of protesters will have done that peacefully, but you don't talk about them. And so you set a precedent, which is what you're setting out to do, whereby when there are protests against what you are doing, which people have, whatever their view, have every right to do peacefully, then the precedent is you're going to send the boys in. And that's what tyrants do. That's what emerging tyrannies do, which is what we have in the United States. So anyway, before we get into this, here's a report on some of what's been going on in LA.
Yeah, every time the people them rise up and say we want freedom, we want our rights being respected. What you guys do, we don't agree with. Cause isn't that what government is? To serve us, to serve the people. So when the people decide to say no, we're not with that. You're meant to serve us. Jump, pull out Marine, pull out the big guns, pull out the tanker. Then him same one criticizes and him party and him Republicans and the people them back him. Them same one in the people. Cause Middle Eastern presidents who run for them country like how them run it now, dictator. We know them always classify African leaders them dictators. And them are the biggest dictators. Cause you dictate this thing and the people them tell you, bro, stop this ICE thing. No man, go for criminals, hardened criminals. Everybody agree with that. Stop hunt people at the workplace and certain people who are 9 to 5 and help build the economy, help build the country. That's stupidness. That's madness. But as David said, it's all planned. You know him do chaos. I am last term, people. The reason why I'm today, there is no consequence with none of the actions, So, chaos, all out of chaos. Perfect.
Scooters on police cruisers on the highway. Law enforcement firing hundreds of flashbangs and non-lethal projectiles and making dozens of arrests. It got so heated in the streets that a British photographer needed emergency surgery after being struck by a non-lethal projectile.
Moving them on through the...
And there was this moment. Watch as a correspondent for 9 News Australia
You just shut the
reporting on the protest when an officer hits her with a rubber pellet. And tonight, an escalating war of words between California Governor Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump. Newsom suing the president for creating the conditions for this chaos when he sidestepped California officials to deploy thousands of National Guard troops.
Are you going to deploy Marines in California?
We hope to have the support of Gavin because Gavin's the big beneficiary as we straighten out his problems. I mean, his state is a mess.
Newsom then slammed by Trump and border czar Tom Homan for his response to the unrest. Homan initially suggesting the governor should be arrested, something Trump seemed to support just hours ago.
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job.
Newsom responding again, calling that an unmistakable step toward authoritarianism. I asked Homan about that.
If Gavin Newsom crosses whatever threshold it is and violates the law, do you have the authority to arrest him or
if he broke the laws like any other U.S. citizen, we'll ask the Attorney General to investigate and they'll prosecute. Tom Homan's not going to prosecute.
Spontaneous clashes began Friday as federal agents conducted multiple operations in and around Los Angeles. By Saturday, protests, mostly peaceful, grew larger when agents were seen staging in nearby Paramount, California. And by Sunday, a convoy of heavily armed and camouflaged troops arrived.
This global cult works through both the left and the right to create this pincer movement to hijack the perceptions of the population and to justify the imposition of military involvement that without the problem you couldn't justify. And it's kind of hilarious in a perverse kind of way to see the left, which denies conspiracies when they're in power, suddenly discovering conspiracy. Oh, Trump's doing it because of this. Yeah, I agree. But when Biden and Obama and anyone else is in power of the left, you can't see a conspiracy. They're the conspiracy nuts who are saying it's a conspiracy. And then you've got the right. Oh, dear. Beam me up, mother. It's mad down here. You've got the right who talk about conspiracies, many of them quite rightly, but then when their guy gets into power, they stop seeing them. And so the left and the right are mirrors of each other. I'll give you an example. We saw in that clip Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, being all prim and proper. Oh, it's tyranny. Yeah, I think it is. But basically, the left and the right, in terms of the controlling force working through them, are two cheeks on the same backside. And this is the thing. If you're going to bring in a great reset, which is what the whole idea is, a complete transformation of human society, well, you have to destroy the status quo. Because while the status quo's there and is not moving, your great reset can't transform society. And what Trump's role in this great reset, deep state agenda is to create, and he's brilliant at it, chaos. Chaos and upheaval. He's doing it with the tariffs and in so many other ways, because he's destroying the status quo. This Doge thing and Musk and what have you, this all part of destroying the status quo and ushering in a dystopia based on control by artificial intelligence. Something I've been warning was the plan for decades. And what you are doing is this. The left has pretty much gone with the AI agenda, whereas the right was very skeptical of it. So you've got to bring them in so that they come on board with what they formerly would have pushed back on. And so you bring forward Trump, that is circled by this big tech oligarchy like Peter Thiel and others in Silicon Valley, Palantir. And you basically, through Trump, tell your base, your target audience, MAGA, what they want to hear. But that's the cover for bringing in the Great Reset and the AI society. And I saw this post this week by a MAGA stalwart, a lady called Laura Loomer, who said, "Time to deploy Palantir to Los Angeles to deal with illegals. You know you'd love to see it. You're lying if you say you wouldn't." Well, that's a kind of a classic example of what I'm talking about. You have the right of the alternative media that has for years and years said and warned about this AI control system and about the surveillance system and the Chinese social credit system. And now you have one of them, and she will be far from alone, that's calling for Palantir to come in to oversee surveillance. And we also have Palantir being hired not just by ICE, the border police, but hired by the Trump regime in general to bring together all the different databases so you have one massive database through which you can assimilate all the information from endless sources on every individual in your population. And this is problem, reaction, solution extraordinaire. And what is Palantir? It's a CIA seed-funded company that provides surveillance and data processing technology for the American government, yes, but other governments like Israel, like the UK, etc., and for intelligence agencies and the military. And two of the people that run Palantir are a guy called Peter Thiel, who is everywhere, and another guy called Alex Karp. And they're both on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group. And the Bilderberg Group is a globalist, deep state operation. And they are being employed to bring in this Orwellian system by those like Trump and the MAGA media that claim to be against all this stuff. It makes no sense. And the reason it doesn't is because what you're really looking at is this cult playing out through both sides, including the side headed by Trump that claims to be against the deep state when they're a servant of it.